Here we are in Crete. Here we are down at the harbor, and this was first organized as a harbor by the Arabs in the 9th century. And then it became under Venetian rule. By the late 1700s, it looked like what we see today. Here's what it looked like when the Venetians built it. Here's what it looks like today, an aerial view. So here's the old Venetian shipyards here. They're selling sponges and shells. So here's the Venetian fortress up close. We're out here on quite a breakwater just beyond the fortress. There's the Venetian dry docks. So here's a Greek church in the center of town. I see a bunch of cafes and people having a leisurely lunch. I think this is quite clever. The glasses are full. The optimist view of life, and this is an optometrist's office. Maybe this is the actual heart of the city. We do have a fountain here in the middle of this square with more lions. I'm sure they were built. This fountain was put in by the Venetians long time ago. The Venetians ruled Crete. This was where the military practiced. And there were some barracks, and there was a gate, St. George's Gate. But today it's just a huge, big, paved square. And over here is the Archaeological Museum, and that's where we're headed. We're in the Archaeology Museum, and this weekend, in honor of tourists, it's free. This whole floor is Minoan, and upstairs is Greek and Roman. This room is prehistoric Crete, 7,000 to 1100 BC. Minoan civilization crashed about 1450 BC. Internal causes, nothing specific, but that's what happened. I've seen pictures. I haven't seen any like this. I would assume they were meant to depict a bird. Gold ornaments were sewn to clothing, banded diadems and myrtle leaves, and chains with appendages from some tombs 2600 to 1900 BC. These nice vases. So this is a bee pendant, 1800 to 1700 BC. These cups are 1800 to 1700 BC. I don't know. Those look like you could sell them in a gift shop today as a nice coffee cup. These are carved from stone instead of clay. And of course, that would have been a lot more work. Minoan architects broke new ground in building and planning and construction techniques, and is evidenced in the imposing palace of Knossos. This is a model of the palace at Knossos, quite large and imposing. So these large jars were found in Minoan palaces, houses, and other places. They were used to store and transport liquids such as wine and olive oil. The decorations were religious, and some of them were just valuable display objects. These huge jars are called pithoi, P-I-T-H-O-I, and they were used for storing grains, pulses, wine, and olive oil. Was used for stomping grapes. Not many grapes at one time, and then the juice flowed into a container like this. Here's a frieze, I guess, showing bull leaping. Men and women both did it. The men are in red, the women in white. Large horns were found on the tops of buildings. as an architectural element, but it was also religious. These are about 1500 BC. Here we can see some horns as they would have been displayed on top of a building. They found all these metal objects, axe heads and swords and so on, in one particular cave. They don't know why they were there. Maybe they were hidden on purpose. This is an image of the descent of the goddess, known from scenes on gold rings, 1500 to 1450 BC. This has been named the Ring of Minos. It's a masterpiece of Minoan jewelry making and an artwork of paramount importance for the understanding of religious iconography. Here's a bull's head. This is very well made too. The cult of the snake goddess is quite prevalent here, and these two statuettes show lots of snakes. The Minoan civilization kind of fell apart in 1450, but the next group that came in decided the palace at Knossos was pretty cool and they used it themselves. And the final destruction was about 1300 BC. Here's how they buried people. They stuck them all together and put them in an urn like this, and then buried them. More beautiful gold jewelry, extremely detailed, beautifully done. About 1400 to 1300 BC. Sarcophagus is about 1300 BC. The person who's deceased is over here in the white robe, and these are gifts that he is receiving to take with him to the afterlife. In here we have remnants of frescoes. You can see little pieces of what they found, and then they pieced together what it looked like originally. These were in place without the background fill-in. And here's another one with it. They're even three-dimensional. These two frescoes, that being one, and this one being the second one, they took from the palace at Knossos. Here's some shields, highly decorated. About 1000 BC, cremation became rather popular, and so these are urns that were used for the ashes after the cremation. These two mosaic floors are, as you might suspect, Roman. Here's a whole bunch of Greek drachma, and they have pictures of Athena on them. Greek art of the Archaic period, 7th to 6th century BC, is marked by the development of monumental sculpture, namely the creation of life-size and over life-size statues in stone. These are Roman. You can see how tall they are. And I thought the Beatles had something new. This is Roman period. And the next guy's got curly hair, and we've got shorter hair here. This is Julio-Claudian style. Here's part of the city walls. Certainly lots of pot shards. These pieces of stone look like they have Arabic writing on them. There's a good one up close. Definitely Arabic. Here at top, some more of the city walls. On top of the wall, and over here is one of the 7 bastions.